Quickly, I want you to listen to this statement from a Mohammed.
Your name. I'm Mohammed Abubakar. I'm from Bagudo local government. I'm from Kebbi State, Bagudo local government. But what makes me annoyed with Nigeria government is this: we don't have good leaders. We just they talk like we Muslim, Hausa, we dey carry God for mind, but we no dey use the God wey we dey carry for our mind. We dey call the God
Hmm.
God, no be all of us dey use am. Na aboki
Okay,
spoil
so
dis country.
that is the confession of an illegal miner whom has come out to confess that, well, as a northerner, what they do is they illegally extort the Nigerian resource. And despite all of this, their illegalities, there is nothing to show for it. As you can see, most times we, the Southerners, we understand the people pulling us their back are the ones behind stagnation of Nigeria as an economy. And so many of us in the South are fed up, and this is the reason why we want to have an exit. We have always sought for a peaceful exit from the Nigerian contraption. Yeah, because we understand that the unity of this country called Nigeria is not in any way advantageous to a common man. It's only the politicians who, of course, are feeding fat. When you check the archives of history, I mean, go into the Zamfara mines, you would see that there are so many pathways wherein planes come in the middle of the night and they leave before daybreak with kilos, many tonnages of Nigerian gold. I mean, these are the resources which are supposed to enrich the life of the Northerners. Let us start with them before we even extend it to the Southerners. That guy over there was complaining bitterly, crying. This is a man who is above 40 years old, and he said he has been in this illegal mining for approximately 15 years. And he said he had to leave, he had to run away. Now he is in Lagos. He said, while we are in that mines, we are only obligated, yeah, to actually mine those gold, but you do not have the access to spend it, to sell it. If you do, your children, your family will be unalive. They will be occupied. So you can see there is a serious syndicate which are held by the Nigerian politicians and, of course, by expatriates. Because if we must agree that the Nigerian government might not be, be able to fight this insurgency, these illegal miners, it is simply because they have the backings of internal saboteurs and foreign expatriates, foreign machineries. The same thing is what has brought DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, the richest country in the old wide world when it comes to mineral resource, whereby the people of DRC are beggars. They literally they eat from hand to mouth. They have no savings. They are not living any life, any meaningful life. They are just being killed either by French machineries or by American machineries or by Italian machineries. The same thing is what we are seeing in the northern Nigeria today. And this guy somehow escaped that dungeon. I believe they allow them to go home maybe once in a while, or maybe he used this moment of Ramadan, because in Ramadan season, all manners, all forms of atrocities, will just die down. And immediately the Ramadan season is over, you see it activated again. So perhaps he has been having a rethink that, well, when it is Ramadan season, we're going to shut down the mines, and I will use that moment to move my family and myself to the south where prosperity, progress is ascertained. I mean, his words. I don't feel any pity for him. I do not. Because these people, he is right there. These people want, if you tomorrow, this same Abuki guy, if we tell him, let us have an election. In that election, you have an Igbo man on the ballot who is a Christian. Okay? If you say you have a person like Yemi Oshibanjo, a Yoruba man who is a reverend or a pastor all his life, this same boy who is complaining bitterly will not vote those people because of his religious bigotry. Yes, this is common for them. He will just decide to align with his religion or his tribe. Because in Nigeria, they understand perfectly how to pause human being brain. When they bring in those primordial sentiments and bias, immediately you will find out this person who has been crying of bad governance, this person, this same guy who has been saying, I have been an illegal miner for a very long time, they will brainwash him, and when they brainwash him, he will forget that these people who are on the ballot from the southern extraction are competent. You will now choose my brother, my religion over competence. And when the sufferness starts, you will come out and start pretending. I do not take them seriously. We will still listen to a longer duration of the interview, but I would just want to, pass my review on this. The Biafrans have been on this conversation for a very long time that Nigeria cannot exist as a one entity because we simply do not have the same ideology. We are different people. The rhetorics that we are of the same family members living in different rooms is absolute balderdash from Tinubu. I mean, these are the words of Tinubu that he used to deceive people. In the past, I made a mistake. Maybe I've always thought Tinubu would be a better person than Buhari. But indeed, I made a mistake. Tinubu has become the president that has brought in what we call the modern day bigotry, ethnicity, tribalism in Nigeria today. If there's any slight mistake from the Igbos, you see the Yorubas on social media gallivanting. Right? If there's any slight mistake from the Yorubas, you will see the Igbos pushing what we call tribal jingoism. I just woke up this morning and on my social media feed, a guy was arrested. He was caught for, alcohol counterfeiting. And the first thing we saw was some Yorubas were there gloating that these people, they want to kill us. So is this an agenda from these guys to just unalive us? What we are forgetting is when Japan and China were developing, they started with all these things that these Igbos are doing. A counterfeit does not mean it might not safe to use. NAFDAC catching people who are making alcoholic drinks. Did they take it to the lab and be certain that, okay, this thing will damage your liver? Because it is now being locally produced in Nigeria does not mean it will necessarily damage your liver and kidney. In China, when they started making their own product in the very early 50s, when Japan were going through their industrial revolution, the commonly known electronic appliances today, Sony, right? AIWA. They were making imitations of American products. Yeah, they were making imitations. And the elites in Japan were saying, well, this is an counterfeit. And they were arresting the manufacturers. They were jailing the manufacturers until it got to a point that the presidents of Japan and South Korea, and in fact, when the chairman Mao came on board, and they started investing into their local production so that they could meet a certain standard. This is what any nation that wants to progress does. You have to imitate from what you see, and from there you can now explore your imaginations. You must build your technological foundation on something, and from there you can begin with your ingenuity. America itself imitated the English industrial complex. The English also imitated the Romans. This is how technology advances. Now, you are saying this guy who are making these local alcoholic drinks, they should be jailed. You're jailing them for 30 years, 40 years. When you go to Jos, you'll find young boys who are making guns. Look alike AK-47. They have all the latte machines, the machining. They are so expert at it that they make guns that are identical to the Russian made or the Pakistani made AK-47 guns. And instead of you to look at these boys, reform them and turn them to national assets, you jail them. And this is why it is important that we understand that Nigeria, as it were, is not meant to be, was not meant to be. The colonial masters did a very dirty job on us. And this is why I have always said that Nigeria is the most successful. The Royal British Company, the Nigeria is the most successful investment they ever made. Because today, we are the ones self-sabotaging ourselves. Yes, if you go to about today, you see people making batteries, making sleepers, locally made. It might not be 100% locally made, but at least about 50-60%, because they still import some very important raw materials. But they still have the ability to craft, to cut, to sew, and have a finished product and brand it right there in Aba, right there. You go to some places even in Oluyole in Oyo State, you go to some places in Ujuelegba in Lagos, they are doing these things. You, as the local content control agency, is supposed to encourage, right? But what they do is they just vilify and they jail them, and we say Nigeria is not moving forward. Nigeria shouldn't have been a nation. That Fulani man who is complaining, like I said, if by 2027 I will try as much as possible to get that guy's contact, by 2027 I will not call him a day before the election. I will call him shortly after the election and ask him, did you vote for Peter Obi, Showore, Tinubu, or Atiku? I know your guess is as good as mine, because I know. You know why I know? Because I have stayed with so many of them. When it is election time, their religious leaders will start the campaign of brainwashing their brains. They start telling them the Christians are infidels. They start telling them the Igbos should never be leaders. That the very one time they had a chance, they destroyed the social fabric of the nation. And that thing works like magic on their head, because they are not critical thinkers. They are not. If anybody was supposed to be protesting today, if anybody was supposed to be bringing the government of Tinubu down to its knees, I believe it should be the Northerners. But again, Tinubu is succeeding. Let's listen to the words of this man.
Mohammed Abubakar. I'm from Bagudo local government. I'm from Kebbi State, Bagudo local government. But what makes me annoyed with Nigeria government is this: we don't have good leaders. We just they talk like we Muslim, Hausa, we dey carry God for mind, but we no dey use the God wey we dey carry for our mind. We dey call the God God, no be all of us dey use am. Na aboki spoil this country. Why? Be say anywhere wey you go, before you go see any other language dey beg, you must see aboki dey beg in this country. Why e be so? Wey be say na we get food, na we dey invest food, na we dey invest cow, na we dey invest many things. But when na we dey suffer pass many people, why you used to be like that?
Okay, how do you feel now? Aboki don dey for power for a very long time. Una don rule this country well. You know, una know why you go tell me say una still dey hungry?
Oga, I support Biafra so that me home and dey in one place.
Talk am again.
I support Biafra 100 times.
How did you know about Biafra? Who told you about Biafra?
Oga, I was born 1981. I'm not a small pikin. I cross 45 to 44 now. I'm not a small pikin. I don't suffer for this country. So what I see with my eye, you make me I dey cry. But I thank God, human being no dey feed me, now God dey feed me. Anytime I wake, I will beg the God and I will feed. Till the day I will go back to him. But we have no leaders in this country.
So how come?
I support Biafra in 100 times. Let's make all man go so that we, the Hausa, will remain. More we see me all man dey assist in one people.
Okay, you are an Hausa man?
Yeah, confirm. I'm from Kebbi State, Bagudo local government.
So why this Fulani dey disturb una well? Una just keep quiet.
Fulani dey disturb now with Hausa dem jump mouth. If the leaders of the state dem no agree, Fulani will no enter your state. Who born Fulani? Who give Fulani leg? If your leaders of your state, governor or anyone no have hands, they will no enter. You don't ever hear say them call Lagos Fulani can do something. Whether them go east, whether them go south of east, you don't hear them. Now only Arewa, but part of the Arewa na some state, not the all state. Like my state, Kebbi State, we don't have that problem with Fulani. But like Kasuna, Zamfara, Sokoto, all those people, now they get that wahala. We don't have any wahala with anybody.
Why Nigeria be like this now? Where they complain saying?
Why Nigeria be like this? We say we don't have good leaders. Even the man is ruling now. Now Hausa the ruler. Now waiting them tell am to do.
Who be the person where they rule now?
Now Tinubu now, but now person they ahead of the Tinubu. That is the northern people.
If you name them, where they do spoil this country like this?
IBB, like them Buhari, forget the person they call God. God know in people. Forget if you are not belong to them, they no put you for that seat. If you know their society, you can't belong to that seat.
Okay, now you talk about this Biafra, that you believe on Biafra, that Biafra.
I believe in, I support una 100 and 500.
Do you think what President Buhari, Tinubu is doing now by holding this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu after IBB don't confess, say there's nothing like Igbos sponsor the coup? Do you think it's right to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Me, what I think, Oga, and the IBB way in the talk, in now them follow spoil this country. Waiting them one talk now, and in no bad eye, but God still they show up upon the money way in the still they see waiting in the see. If that money go cure that in sickness, may cure that in sickness too.
But some people say IBB no just come confess say no people plan the coup or Abiola win the election. Say get be say as he don they go close to him grave. Say he don they see people wey kill during Biafra. Now then they torment and that's why he come confess Nigeria. You believe him?
Oga, now God show him before him go die, may him confess in sin before him go to the creator. So whatever you harvest is what you plan now he go harvest. So now waiting in they see now the evacuation before him go may him confess.
Yoruba and Fulani or Hausa or not has been ruling this country. Igbo man never rule.
And then let's give them now. They are human being also. Let's give them, let them test. If they no one test, let's do the Biafra so that no woman just there on his own. What you get, you manage it. Now God they feed human being. If they know say they are right for what they are doing, the northerners, if they know say they are right, let's leave the Biafra to do.
So you support Biafra to go
100 by 100.
Why? Why do you support Biafra?
Why I support is this. We, the northerners, we are the ruler, we are still the suffering. We are the suffering. I don't know. Before you see any other language, maybe you must see outside the game. And if you say it's like, enter the whole net 36 state, you must see. Now so why it used to be like that?
You like Igbo?
Oga, 100 by 100.
Are you sure you like Igbo?
Oga, me, I serve someone at Okwibe. I stay for East 2003 when Onitsha market catch fire. I dey East.
You don't mean it.
Oga, they tell you say if there is the truth, say the one truth. Wetin I dey talk, me I talk and make the whole world hear am. If person wants whatever, you know fit kill.
The whole world is hearing you.
I want make them hear am so that if you know be my God, you know fit kill me, I know fit kill you. But me I suppose be Biafra 100 by 100. Make them live home and name dey on your own. If you believe you are God, serve who you believe so that you feed you. That is all I believe. But this northerners make them rest, make another people test the seat.
Who be another people where they look, make the test the seat?
I support Nnamdi Uzokami. I support her 100 by 100.
Nnamdi Kanu.
Yeah, 100 by 100. Make them give her in right. Because when they help una people, we our people, nobody feel. Even business, if you don't get what to do, nobody will assist you.
But for the sake of your people who go watching for this time, people feel say now we make this Tinubu become president because we over here, where we dey here, we voted for Peter Obi to change power to see, but in the north, we vote for Tinubu and we
since I was born.